Have you ever wondered what would actually happen if you gave God the very first place in your life for 30 days straight? Not the leftovers, not just Sundays. Every single day, first place. Most people say they want peace, clarity, and breakthrough, but they keep handing God whatever time is left over. We scroll before we pray. We plan before we ask. We chase money, approval, and comfort, hoping one of those things will finally fill the emptiness. But Malachi 3:10 says something radical. Bring your whole offering, not a portion, and watch what God does in return. That principle isn't just about money, it's about everything. What happens if for the next 30 days, you make one decision each morning? God goes first, before the phone, before the plan, before the noise. By the end of this video, you'll understand that putting God first isn't a scheduling change. It's a complete reordering of your soul. Number 1, putting God first reorders your desires. The first thing that shifts when God takes first place is what you actually want. Things that used to feel urgent, being noticed, being right, being ahead, start losing their pull. Before Matthew became a disciple, he was chasing tax money at a booth. Before Zacchaeus met Jesus, he climbed a tree just to catch a glimpse of someone worth more than his wealth. Luke 19:8-9 shows Zacchaeus giving half his possessions away the moment his priorities flipped. That's what happens when God moves to first place. Your wants get reordered from the inside. Psalm 37:4 says, "Delight yourself in the Lord, and He will give you the desires of your heart." Notice the order. Delight comes first. The desires follow. Not the other way around. Picture a garden overtaken by weeds. You don't fix it by rearranging the weeds. You pull them and plant something new. That's what 30 days of putting God first does to your desires. Number 2, putting God first quiets the noise in your mind. Most people assume a quiet mind comes from having fewer problems, but biblical quiet doesn't come from an empty calendar. It comes from a full relationship. Elijah, in 1 Kings 19, ran from Jezebel, exhausted and afraid, hiding in a cave. God didn't meet him in the wind, the earthquake, or the fire. He met him in a low whisper. Elijah's circumstances hadn't changed yet, but his center had. That's the pattern. 1 Peter 5:7 says to cast your anxiety on him because he cares for you. Not manage it. Cast it. Imagine trying to hold a beach ball underwater. The moment you stop fighting and let go, it rises on its own. Anxiety works the same way when God is first. You stop wrestling it down and simply release it upward. Number 3, putting God first rearranges your relationships. This part surprises people. When God takes first place, some relationships deepen and others quietly fall away. Not because you reject people, but because your foundation changes what you tolerate and what you pursue. Ruth left everything familiar to stay loyal to Naomi, and ultimately to God. Ruth 1:16 records her saying, "Your people shall be my people, and your God my God." That kind of loyalty only makes sense when God is the center holding everything else together. When God isn't first, relationships often become idols we lean on for identity. When He is first, relationships become gifts we hold with open hands. If this is speaking to you, take a moment to like this video, subscribe, and comment below. God first, always. Share it with someone who needs to hear this today. Number 4, putting God first exposes what you've been leaning on. This part is uncomfortable but necessary. When God becomes first, hidden supports start to surface. The things you've quietly trusted more than Him. For the rich young ruler in Mark 10:17 to 22, it was possessions. For Jonah, it was his own sense of justice. He ran from Nineveh because obedience conflicted with what he wanted. Jonah 1:3 says he fled in the opposite direction. Sometimes putting God first means confronting the version of obedience we'd rather skip. Exodus 23 says plainly, "You shall have no other gods before me." Think of a scale that's been quietly tipped for years. You don't notice the imbalance until someone points at it directly. That's what these 30 days do. They point at the tipped scale, not to shame you, but so it can finally be leveled. Number 5. Putting God first builds patience you didn't have before. Faith that puts God first doesn't rush. Hannah, in 1 Samuel 1, prayed year after year for a child, pouring out her heart so intensely the priest thought she was drunk. She didn't demand an instant answer. She kept returning to God first, before bitterness, before giving up. Eventually, Samuel was born. James 1:4 says, "Let steadfastness have its full effect, that you may be perfect and complete, lacking in nothing." Picture bread dough left to rise. If you rush it, it stays flat and dense. Given time, it becomes something entirely different.